Okay, here we go at the next video. So she claims that she doesn't like people who only like one race. And they're basically, you know, and I know what she's talking about. There's some people who have that yellow fever. I personally do not have that. Though someone might imagine that I do, but I've never been particularly interested in Asians per se. I just happen to fall in love with them. I don't fall in love with one, as I slur my words, because of Strong Zero, the 9% alcohol that does not sponsor this show. I only have one tonight. So anyway, I talked to a guy today who told me, oh, I'll just tell everyone, Patrick. I was talking to Patrick tonight. And Patrick says, I can drink 15 beers, but if I have like, I think he said one. I think he said if I have one of those, I go to sleep. So. Okay, so about her. She doesn't like people who are into just one race, but it seems to me that she's racist against white people, which is kind of the same as liking only one person. And she takes complete advantage of her own skin color to get dick. What's so good for her? Anyway, she did say something that was a couple things that were interesting. She does shed in her videos. She does shed a bit of light on something I don't know anything about, which is what Japanese men do and their experiences. And she claims that since a lot of them do not have a lot of experience, they probably watch a lot of pornography, and as a result imitate what they see in pornography, which means they end up doing a lot of weird shit like licking armpits and the back of your knees. So that's something I did not know. So if you want some insight into the sexuality of Japanese men, her subjective experience is interesting, though it's not scientifically valid, of course, because it's just unless she has sex with 1,000 men, and then she should probably write a paper, which, you know, go for it. Okay. But she does point out something else that's interesting. She says she believes that one of the reasons she attracts men in Japan is because she has a voice. She's not afraid to give her opinion, and she thinks that a lot of Japanese girls are afraid. Not once you marry them. Married men will understand my pain. Okay. The other thing I don't like about her videos, well, I like most of her videos. I will say this to the person who complained to me. Don't watch her. Don't watch her if you don't like her. I understand you're a black person as well, and that you feel this reflects poorly on you. I think most intelligent people know that she is not a representation of black women in Japan. There are a lot of people like, and I hate to even bring this up in the same video, but Loretta Kemushi-chan, who is a shining example of a beautiful, intelligent, well-spoken, very educated, very creative black person. Quite a bit older as well, as compared, and someone who's I believe married. Is she married now? My God, is she married? Well, she's engaged anyway. Just a wonderful, pillar of society, and will be accepted by pretty much everybody. She could run for president if she wanted, probably in 10 years, and people would consider it. But the way this woman, Morena in Japan, represents herself, well, it's very different. And again, this sounds very judgmental, but I'm just telling you what I think society will see. Society will accept someone like Kemushi-chan right away. And they will probably give this girl a lot of shit, and the trolls are going to give this girl a lot of shit, but honestly, I think most of them are being hypocritical because she's just being a man in a woman's body. She just wants to go out and have fun and have a lot of sex. She does mention that she had a very serious relationship back in the day, and that her boyfriend was her life and everything. And then something happened, and that fell apart. But anyway, she seems to be fine, and who am I to judge? I'm an old man, and she's a 19-year-old woman. Oh yeah, the other thing that I wanted to mention was that I used to be the head teacher at the YWCA. And in Nagoya, you can look it up. I don't work there anymore, so you can call them and tell them, say, don't hire Victor anymore. But I was the head teacher, and I quit. And I opened up my own school, which I cannot be fired from. But though some of you have tried by calling my school and saying, you should fire him. True story. True story. Anyway, when I was at YWCA, we had every semester we had one class that was like a high school class, and somehow they had a deal with another high school. Well, I didn't. YWCA is in a high school. They're a private school, and I know it says women's college, but they have male teachers too as well. Anyway, so one of the all female high schools had a deal with YWCA because it's a female school, and they would send us like a whole, I think 1 or 2 classes every year, and it wasn't a lot. It was like 14 students in one class. And I taught a couple of those classes, and they're 18, 19-year-old girls. And I got to tell you that they always seem to me to be like 14 or 15-year-old girls. Like they never seem to me to be American versions of 18, 19-year-old girls. And Morena in Japan is a 19-year-old, sexually active, very outspoken, I will even say aggressive woman. And she is nothing like the 19-year-old girls that I have ever met. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so there's a big difference. So I guess if you're a Japanese guy dating 19-year-old girls and you meet her, yeah, she'd probably throw you for a loop. For sure. Anyway. But yeah, one thing I didn't like about her videos was she uses the N-word a lot. As in she says nigger this, nigger that. Like if you find a nigger with a car, you better hold on to that nigger. Like really? I mean, shouldn't we just stop saying that word? Just to make it easier for everybody? I don't know. Okay. It's another thing she says, which is kind of confusing to me. Oh yeah, actually very useful. She talks about hoeing. I think this was in Hoeing in Japan 101. She actually gives some very useful advice on how not to become a victim in Japan. So that's good. For example, she says, never accept a drink unless you've seen that drink poured in front of your eyes. And what was the other thing? She always wear protection. And she talks about being assaulted. She doesn't go into a lot of detail, and I'm kind of glad because I don't want to hear it. I mean, I know it happens, and it would definitely would have changed this video if she had talked in detail about her being assaulted. But apparently she talks about Japan having this image of being a very safe country, but women get assaulted here, and that's true. And as you guys have seen in my videos, I've talked about my experiences interfering with men, or stopping men. I should just speak simple English. I stopped men from beating their girlfriends in the street a few times, on more than one occasion. And I even got it on video once. Once. But I've done it, I think, 4 times now. Anyway, and again, probably not a good idea. It doesn't really get you anywhere, and the women usually end up going back with the men. So, but the one thing that's kind of funny about her is that she talks about Japanese men being gross. No, not. She said men in general are gross, terrifying, and disgusting. But she likes dick, so I don't know. I feel like she's got a love-hate relationship with men, and at that point, maybe you should consider experimenting with the same sex. I don't know. No, I mean, I don't say that with any malice in my heart. I say that if you really think men are gross, terrifying, and disgusting, and you're so sexual, why not try being sexual with women? Because, I think sexuality is pretty fluid. A lot of people, most people, I guess, think, you're either black or white, you're either straight or gay. But for me, sexuality is more of a spectrum. That would explain bisexuals, who are kind of between heterosexual and homosexual. And why not experiment? Maybe she would be happier and feel safer, and thus happier. If you're safer, you're probably happy, right? If you're in a sexual relationship with someone you liked. But a lot of her videos are also, a lot of the comments she makes in her videos are also very, what's the word for someone who hates, misogynist is someone who hates women. I think it's androgynous. Is that right? No, that doesn't make sense. I think it's someone who has no sex. Anyway, I can't remember the word. There is a word for it, but she seems to me to be someone who hates men in general. And that's not good. It's just not healthy. to be having so many sexual relationships with a sex that you actually don't even like. Anyway, but she's definitely worth a look, and I do wish her help. Oh yeah, and the one thing I wanted to address at the end of this was most of her videos are probably non-monetizable right now, but I want to give you guys and her, especially Morena, some information about money. So if you have a 10-minute video that has an advert at the beginning, at the end, and you monetize that and you get 100,000 views, and she's got a couple like that, I would guess that you would make with 100,000 views, I'd guess you'd make an easy $200. Yes. Now, if you put an advert in the middle of that, it would increase the money a bit. Now, here's a problem for Morena in Japan. Morena in Japan. Morena in Japón, I guess in Spanish. Anyway, the problem for her is that most of her videos are not monetizable yet. But she's doing a very good job of growing her channel quickly. So what I would say is keep it up and start thinking about other videos you can make that are not so dependent upon shock, but still get views, because you can probably turn this into a career. And the other thing I told you about early in this video, in the first video, was she gives some great advice on how to get into university in Japan, and she's willing to share that advice with you. So check out her first video. I'm about to burp, so yeah. But she said that one university, she applied to 3 universities and they all accepted her, but one of them gave her free tuition for 2 years. So I'm thinking, Morena in Japan, you are going to run out of money within 2 years. And unless one of those many boyfriends you have bankrolls you, which is quite possible actually, but if that doesn't happen, you can still rely on YouTube to maybe pick up the slack quite a bit. And you can probably get other jobs, right? Yeah, you could be a hostess girl. I mean, you don't seem adverse to using your feminine wiles to attract the male dollar, because you talk about it in your videos. So that's another option, but definitely you could probably make some money off YouTube. So if you got 300,000 views in 3 months, if those views were monetizable, that's an easy, I would say it's an easy $500 right there. And if you do that every 3 months, that's $2,000 a year, and that helps quite a bit. That'll help towards any tuition. And I'm pretty sure Japanese tuition is surprisingly cheaper than American tuition. And the other thing is that even if you don't go to a super expensive Japanese school, the fact that you studied abroad and got a degree counts for something. And you can come back to America with a Japanese degree. Nobody really would know what it meant, except that, well, this apparently is equivalent to a college degree. So isn't that good enough? I mean, who cares, really? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys tonight. Thanks for watching these 2 videos back to back with no editing. I'm gonna get to bed. But go ahead and tell me what you think. Am I wrong to promote a woman like this? I'm trying my best not to be judgmental. Of course, as a person of my generation, I probably have some gut feelings against her. But I also think that I'm also a thinking human being, and I realize that a lot of those feelings are probably old-fashioned and the result of my social brainwashing, sexist social brainwashing, to believe that women should not do the same thing men do. But anyway. But I'm still, I guess one of the main reasons I made this video was that I don't think it's good to be that promiscuous. I think it's eventually, it hurts you. And is there really any reason? Here's the other thing, okay? Here's a great argument against all promiscuity. Sex is not that different, I mean, you can have sex with a lot of people, yeah, but why bother? I mean, What are you really getting out of that experience? You don't see the same movie. As good as it is, you won't go see the same movie again and again, right? And if you have a bunch of movies that are similar, you won't go see them again and again. Well, actually, I guess you might. But what I'm saying is, there's really no excuse for being promiscuous, other than I'm just lazy and I want to get off, and I don't like taking care of myself, because you could actually do that just as well. But yeah, I don't think it's that important. So. Anyway, okay, I've talked on long enough. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. As always, I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and I'm going to turn this off. Good night.